Hi, today we'll be speaking to Malek Rahbani, an actor. How are you, Malek?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
No worries. So, to start us off, can you tell me a bit about your childhood life and how your environment influenced you entering the film industry?
Uh, I love that question. Okay, I was born in Beirut, Lebanon, and I was lucky enough and blessed enough to be born in a family that has embraced arts, music, uh, playwright, plays. My grandfather was a playwright and a composer, and they've been in the industry, working in the industry for over 50 years, more, 70 years. They started in the 50s doing extravagant plays in Lebanon and the Middle East. And my father is a director, and I grew up in that field. And absolutely, you could say I was very, very immersed in that world because all we talk about at home is music, theater, movies, arts. So uh, I grew up in that field and I just love it so much. And at a very early age, I knew that I wanted to be an actor because I was so influenced by movies, especially Hollywood movies. So I'm a kid of the 90s. I grew up watching Terminator 2. Those were my heroes, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone. And I just wanted to be like them. I loved the whole aspect of movie making and acting. And I just tried to as much as I can learn as I was young and uh, just really hopefully one day be able to do this. And yeah, I just it's been a great journey.
Yeah. So, can you share a specific movie or moment that sparked your love for acting and made you realize that this was the path that you wanted to pursue?
Oh, so many movies, so many movies. I was watching movies that probably I shouldn't have been watching at a very young age. I remember my parents took me to watch Face Off with John Travolta and Nicolas Cage. I think I was 5 years old. And that's not a movie for kids, but thankfully I grew up fine. I just love movies. And so yeah, I just watching a lot of movies. I remember, and with my grandma too, God bless her, she just we still watch movies every day when I'm in Lebanon. So she introduced me to all the old Hollywood actors like Montgomery Clift, James Stewart, Cary Grant, Hitchcock films. So it was like a process in the making for me to love movies more. And as I grew up, I started expanding my palette, watching movies from Europe, from Asia, and these movies as well helped me uh, get influenced more by a wider variety of actors. So I don't know if it was just one film. Now, all I could think about is Terminator 2 because I've seen that movie over 50 times and uh, I just love it so much. It's so avant-garde uh, in its era. I mean, this was done in 1990, 1991, I think, and the effects and everything. And I remember when I was in school, I used to run like Robert Patrick, T1000. So yeah, a lot of movies. But if I could just think of one right now, I think probably that would be Terminator 2 Judgment Day, James Cameron's film.
Yeah. So you've mentioned your environment and all the movies you've loved in the past, and your family, as you mentioned, was very involved in the film industry from when you were born, and it's that's your story, and I think everyone trying to create their story is it's all unique, no matter whether you're in the same family or not. How did you find your identity and niche within the acting industry?
Uh, so at a very early age, I used to go with my dad to the theater whenever they had a play, and I used to watch him direct and watch the other actors. That really helped me a lot to learn and watching other actors and learning from them, and of course taking courses in college and workshops. I guess you learn the techniques. You've got the Meisner, the Stanislavski method, bunch of a lot of other methods, and then I would say, incorporate them into what fits you, what makes you comfortable. And so I have two older brothers. One of them is a director, and the other is a film composer. And my cousins. musicians, composers, playwrights, directors. Uh, I really wanted acting because I love one thing that River Phoenix, God rest her soul, the actor once said: acting is like Halloween. You get to wear a mask every day, and it's a different mask. So I love that aspect of acting, that where you could just surrender yourself into a character, and you could be one day an astronaut or a doctor. You could be whoever you've always dreamed of being, and maybe someone that you never in your wildest dreams or nightmares you want to come close to, for example, like a serial killer or someone like that. And you just have to do the character justice. And just watching actors like, for example, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Dustin Hoffman, Tom Hanks take on different roles really influenced me as an actor, as a young aspiring actor. Like, I would like to do that one day. I would like to reach that level of confidence. And I've just been working on myself every day, watching movies. And I have a thing that if I love a movie, I would watch it over 50 times, learn the script, learn the actor's mannerisms. Why did he do this here? What was the choice here? And just learning every day. It's the number one thing in life that you never stop learning.
So you mentioned that you can almost find beauty in trying to act as someone else. Are there any other wonderful things that you've almost fallen in love with within this industry that you've taken on?
Oh yeah. Oh, so many things. I'm a musician as well. I play the piano. All of us in the family grew up playing music. That was like a standard in the family. And I love film composition. Yesterday, oh my God, you're gonna love this. Yesterday, my wife and I, we just watched for the second time John Williams live in concert at the Hollywood Bowl. My
Oh,
God,
well.
being there amongst 17,500 people, that's the capacity of the Hollywood Bowl. Uh, just being there and watching him, God bless him, he's 91, I think, and he's conducting with along with Gustavo Dudamel, and he's playing uh, from music from Star Wars, Indiana Jones, E.T., Schindler's List, and you can see all the people just silent, everybody in unison, just breathing in and taking in this wonderful music. And that's how you influence people. That's generations of people raised on his music. I mean, it was unbelievable to me, just being there and watching. And I love directing. I love writing. I also write scripts, and I wrote my first book in 2016. It was called Images: A Personal Evolution of the Mind. It was short stories that were in my mind about different stages in life that a person goes through. For example, sickness, death, dreams, being a baby, and they're all told from the point of view of that person. Uh, that was an amazing journey for me, because I never thought that I would write a book. I always focused on screenplays, writing for TV series. But I remember my dad encouraged me, and he said, "Why don't you try to write to adapt those stories that you have into a book?" And I was like, "Okay, that could be interesting." And that's how it went. And a year later, I had a book. I published it and I released it. It was amazing. Like, the thing is, you never know in life what's going to happen, and sometimes that scares you, but it's also the mystery in life that's so really worth it. And so each of us are on a journey, and you never know what happens tomorrow. I mean, I love every aspect of filmmaking: producing, directing, cinematography, editing. That's one thing I don't think I could ever do. I love watching it. I love watching it happen. But me being in control, I have so many good friends who are editors. They're amazing. But I don't know if I'm technical enough or witty enough to do that. I prefer just sitting down and writing a script. I think that's my forte.
So you mentioned your book, A Personal Evolution of the Mind. How has writing contributed to your personal and artistic growth within the acting industry?
Oh, a lot. Thank you for that question. I love writing. Also, at a very young age, I was I grew up loving to write and exploring my imagination because honestly, the imagination is limitless. You can do whatever you want, and you can make a guitar talk, and whatever you dream of, you can just write it down on paper, and that has helped me a lot as well as an actor, because sometimes I would receive a script and I would just uh, dive in, writing a backstory for the character that helps me in my preparation for the role. Just writing stories about the character that maybe the director or the writer might not have thought of or given me. So it's my job to do that. And because I love to write, that has helped me a lot to evolve as an actor and also as a writer to create, to improvise, to create worlds, and it just is a really amazing feeling when you write and just create something that has never been there.
Yep. So I'm gonna go back to your previous answer about your family, and you seem very proud about your family. You obviously followed their history in terms of going into the acting and musical world per se. Are there any specific unique challenges and expectations that you've had to face due to your family background?
Of course, uh, the responsibility is huge because they worked their whole life. They sacrificed a lot to get to where they are, and I don't take anything for granted. And that's how we were raised. Never take anything for granted. Not because you have the family name, it's like your card. No, you have to work and earn that name, and that's always been a, I don't want to say a weight on my shoulders. It's like a good motivational weight and a responsibility that I hold so dear to my heart, that okay, I was born into this family that they have um, made a huge name for themselves in the arts throughout the world, and I just want to be a part of that, do my own thing, and try to grow the name with them, and just keep the legacy going. And every day I try to motivate myself, even sometimes when you're feeling down, and especially in this industry, there's a lot of downtime when you're not working. Uh, but this even helps me to refresh, just sit and work on myself, do some writing, and just hopefully I'll make them proud one day.
So I'm gonna change the topic more towards your new film called Jacir. Can you tell us a bit about your experience working on this movie and how it has impacted your career?
Oh, it was amazing. We've been working on this film for almost 7 years. So it was released this year. I think I'm correctly remembering, I got the role in 2017. I was still living in Lebanon. I auditioned, and then one day, I got a call from the casting director. It was a very good friend of mine, Hamza, and he said, "Okay, Malek, you got the role." I was like, "Really?" It was like disbelief. It was like, "Really? Am I getting punked here?" It was an amazing phone call, and then I moved out to Los Angeles. Officially moved out here in 2019, and we shot the film in November of 2020 during the pandemic. Oh my God, that was so hard. And it was before the vaccines, so we were getting tested uh, every week, 3, 4 times, and we had to
Jesus.
maintain certain COVID protocols, and especially when Miss Lorraine Bracco came on board, I was ecstatic. I remember that phone call from Wahid, the director. He said Lorraine Bracco was on board. Lorraine Bracco. He said, "Yeah, you remember Goodfellas, The Sopranos?" I was like, "Oh wow!" I couldn't believe it. And just working with her and learning from her, it was just an amazing experience. It was like going to film school every day. I love being on set with so many talented people, and that's the best school that you could get. I mean, learning, of course, learning. I'm not saying don't go to art school. Of course, go there, learn the literature, learn the basics. But being on set, practicing that is just makes it all worth it.
Yeah.
It was an amazing experience, and especially because the story is very close to a lot of people in the Middle East. Just give a small summary. Jacir is a young Syrian boy uh, who relocates to Memphis, Tennessee as a refugee after the Syrian war. Losing so much, he's trying to adapt to this new world that he doesn't feel that he belongs to, but he wants to belong to because he has no other choice. He has nowhere else to go. And then he discovers firsthand that even in the new world, there's a lot of um, sad aspects to it, racism and just people don't want him there because he looks different, because he speaks different, and this is where Miss Lorraine Bracco's character Meryl comes in. She's uh, Jacir's neighbor, and she's very conservative. She doesn't like anyone who doesn't look like her, or anyone who doesn't speak the same language or share maybe the same religion as her. And we see at first a clash of civilizations, like East meets West, and then they both discover how really all of us human beings are the same. We all laugh the same way, we all cry the same way, we're all in the pursuit of happiness. And I always like to say this, in a perfect world, these two people, these two characters, Jasser and Meryl, would have never met. He would have stayed in Syria, she lives in Memphis, everything would have been fine, there's no war. But because this is an imperfect world, they do meet and they discover how truly human beings were all the same.
Yeah. So first of all, congratulations on filming the film. I can only imagine it must be extremely difficult, especially through COVID. I mean, it's almost ridiculous how they shut down the whole entire world for 3 years or 2 years or whatever it was. So obviously, congratulations doing that. And second of all, success to a large extent is completing a goal, and you've done that with this film. Is there any advice you would give to young upcoming actors to try achieve their success within the film industry?
No, it's not just to them. I have to say this to myself every day. I have to say this to myself because I'm still young, I'm still learning, I never stop learning, and my journey's just in the beginning. And so thank you for saying that. Again, you're asking so many great questions. You're helping me right now. Uh, uh, you know, there's one thing that's always in my mind, and I always say, uh, don't quit because you may be closer than you think. Because you never know what happens. That phone call that you've been waiting for, your or that audition, especially in our field. So don't quit because you may be closer than you think, and always look out for number one, which is you. And you have to keep yourself healthy, mind and body, no matter the problems around you, be that family problems, life problems, whatever. You are the most important person to keep healthy, the mind and the body, because this is your life, and we only get one life. No one's coming back. There's no reset button. We can't get back yesterday. So all we have to do is focus on today and make sure that tomorrow is better than today. And just love movies, man. I love movies. I mean, I love watching movies, reading books. I love reading the history of Hollywood and especially autobiographies by actors and directors, how they started. And when I read a book, for example, by Oliver Stone or any actor, uh, it just really reminds me that yes, they all started the same. He wasn't Oliver Stone. He wasn't Steven Spielberg growing up. And for example, Steven Spielberg, I love a story about him where he just jumped off the tram in Universal Studios and snuck into the studios where they were shooting, and he stayed there. He kept going every day. They gave him a pass for a week, and he kept going for 3 months, uh, just learning and watching how movies were made. And that's how you get inspired. I mean, I get inspired by their stories, and hopefully one day I hope that my story will inspire because it's the grind never stops. You just always are in the pursuit of a better life, of your happiness, what makes you happy. And you just have to keep on going, man. It's just one life that we have. If you really do believe in something and you really want it so much, uh nobody can a lot of people are going to say no to you, but you have to be stubborn, and this is your life. You have to decide. You make the final decision.
Yeah. And looking back in your career so far, I'm going to say so far because you're obviously still a young man, still going and pushing for the best, as all people do in their industries. What are some of the most rewarding aspects of your acting career so far?
Well, definitely, Jacir has been extremely rewarding here in the United States, but I did start my career way back in Lebanon. uh, I started with my family, with the Rahbanis, being in their plays. I was an extra, and that was the one thing that I loved about my father, who was the director of the plays. He said, "Okay, not because you're my son, you're gonna get a speaking role. No, or you're gonna get a big role. You have to work your way up," and that helped me a lot because I was just getting background roles, and I love that because in certain scenes you play a soldier, so you have to get into the wardrobe of a soldier and get all the accessories with you, and then you play a peasant, and then you play a king, jester, so many different roles, and really, and they were not, most of them were not speaking. So I had to really, in my mind, just get into the mindset of all these characters that I was playing, even though I was uh like way in the back sometimes, not a main character. But that shows you, that teaches you that the audience, they are looking at everybody in film. They're looking at the background, they're looking at all, and in theater as well. So no one is unnoticed, and if you don't take it seriously, they will know, and they will say this guy's not serious. And so that was very important for me. And then I started getting small speaking parts, uh, and then I started working in TV. I had some really good roles, just growing every day. And I did a series with my brothers. It was the first time we worked together, called Jungle Law, uh, which I co-wrote, and I had a role in it. Uh, and that was the first time that I had written a role for myself. I knew I wanted to play that character. His name is Sammy, and he's mentally challenged because he was shot, and so right now uh, he's in his own world, and I wanted to try to challenge myself with a character like that.
Yeah.
And it was terrifying because I had never done anything like that. And I remember my dad said to me, "Okay, you could. This is a challenging role. You could very easily overact, or you could come under, not enough. So you have to find that balance." And I did a lot of research, and thankfully, I was told that it was good, was well received,
Yeah.
and just yeah.
So you mentioned your dad. How has your dad influenced you in the film industry? And are there any other mentors that have influenced you as well?
Oh yeah, yeah, a lot. My brothers as well. I have to say, my brother taught it. We grew up watching movies. He was the one who introduced me to Oliver Stone, Scorsese, Steven Spielberg, Billy Wilder, all those guys. And my dad, at a very young age, we used to watch movies together. This is a nice story. I remember in 2001, we watched a movie called A Beautiful Mind, directed by Ron Howard, starring Russell Crowe. That's one of my favorite movies. I think I was maybe 10 years old when I watched this film. It was the first time I had ever heard the term schizophrenia. And just watching that film with my family was so life changing for me, because I was so influential. And then when we finished the movie, it was like everyone was blown away by Russell Crowe's performance, which is one of the greatest performances ever recorded. And we were talking about it, and I was young. I was just trying to, grasp at everything everybody was saying. Uh, And all those discussions after movies really helped me a lot. So we grew up watching a lot of movies with my family. That helped me a lot. And then, especially in when I started working with my dad in the theater, getting notes from him, and a lot of other teachers, a lot of great mentors. Even here, I'd like to consider Mr. David Valdez, who's been a very good friend as a mentor. Mr. Mario Casar, who's a producer as well, who produced Terminator 2, also has been a wonderful mentor. And George Shamshum, who's the director of the Asian World Film Festival, also, and just a lot of great people who have really, I would say, took me under their wing, who have the most important thing, given me their time. And this is one thing that I appreciate, and I'm forever grateful for someone who's well established, who's not your age, who they're even some older than my father, and they just sit with me and tell me their stories and give me their time. I am eternally grateful for that. And I had a chance. I know I'm taking a little bit of time. Just want to say that
That's fine.
I had a wonderful opportunity to meet an amazing director, God rest his soul. His name is Jean-Marc Vallée, who directed Dallas Buyers Club. He did Big Little Lies and Wild with Reese Witherspoon. Uh, and I met him through my good friend George, the director of the Asian Film Festival. And I just learned so much from him, and I was so grateful for him giving me his time. And he passed away, sadly, last 2 years ago, almost last year, uh, untimely death. And I'm forever grateful for every moment that I had with him, just listening to what he told me. And I
Yep.
appreciate everybody for their time. That's something